I think a lot of the individual identity kind of starts from those immutable traits about yourself, and there's on top of that there's a layer of sort of your brain organization, right, is a part of your identity in some way in terms of how you think, which can include things like your philosophy in life is a part of your identity, and that's definitely something we talk about here a good amount. It even includes things like your religion. That's another part of your individual identity. But then it starts to grow from that into the group identity, especially as you start introducing the more social aspects of things. So like religion does have a social aspect to it. The family unit is partly biological, but also partially social as an identity. And then as you start growing the group identity bigger, eventually you reach a certain limit where you can no longer sort of think of all of the individual actors in this play of the group of your identity, and you start having to abstract things bigger. And I think this is what leads to some of the problems we're having in our increasingly global society today, that we don't really have a true global identity. I think we're trying to develop one as a result of a human race that's so interconnected now, globally speaking, but we don't really have that problem. Well, we don't have any problem solved, but we don't have a good identity that is global yet today as a human race.
That's interesting, and I feel like it's actually the larger the pool, the net of identity becomes, the simpler the notions have to be to define it. In a way.
That's kind of what I mean by abstractions, in terms of you can't account for all the nuances of the individuals anymore once you start getting to the level of global, and you start having to think of, I mean, generally we start to group things into different like, let's just say nations, countries, ethnicities. All of those different groups start becoming how you think about the identity at a global level, just because you can no longer start to account for the individuals once you're starting to have these, billions of people in your head, right? That's just not something your mind can do.